You're listening to Saturday Morning Media. And now, back to our show. Elf Centered is made possible by the Saturday Morning Media Patreon patrons. To support the show and hear new episodes before anyone else, become a patron. Visit patreon.com/Saturday Morning Media for more information. And thank you for your support.
We had to borrow the sleigh.
Yeah.
Initially, we had to get over there quick. So we let me give you a little backstory. Or should we start the...
Let me start the show and then we'll get into it. Hello, welcome to Elf Centered. My name is Gavin.
I'm Beatrice.
I'm Gary-san.
And Gary-san? Son?
Gary, yes.
Gary's son.
It's a nickname I got.
Well, we are just talking to Gary because, as you know, Gary missed last month. But here we are at the end of May, and we are excited for Gary's return. And I didn't mean to interrupt you, but I want to know more about where you were and more about this nickname.
Yeah.
Well, so I don't know how many people know this about Mrs. Claus, but she is a huge sumo wrestling fan. Huge.
I did not know that.
I did not know that.
She was at the first professional sumo match several hundred years ago.
Wow.
Yep. Wow. She's a big fan. And Santa's more of a passive fan, but one of the things that drew
a pasta fan?
That too, but he's more of a passive fan.
Oh, passive.
Yeah. Nowadays. But that was one of the things that she told me, because we had a lot of talks because we were in Japan.
You were in Japan?
Oh, yeah. Well, that's where sumo happens. We were in Japan for a good 3 weeks to a month. We were there. It was an important thing that, and I'll get to it. But so that was one of the reasons that Mrs. Claus was kind of attracted to Santa in the beginning. And he's got a sumo build.
Right.
You can't really tell how big his legs are under those red pants because the suit covers it up. But he's got some big, beefy legs. And that's what you need in sumo. So anyway, here's the deal. She's been a long-time fan. And one of... after the last Baciocco, which is the tournament, that there's a tournament in sumo every 2 months. Every odd month, there's a sumo tournament. And this last one in March... there's one just now in May, but this one happened in March. Now there's Hakuho is the greatest sumo wrestler of all time, and that's probably a lot of commentators and historians would agree that Hakuho is the greatest sumo wrestler of all time. He's won the most tournaments, 42, and he's won thousands of matches in the upper division. So. At the end, the very last Baciocco in March, he won the whole thing. He suffered no defeats in the 15-day tournament. He won everything, but in the last one, he had to win because there's another sumo, Takahashi, who was 14-1. So if he didn't beat this last opponent, he'd have to do a tiebreaker. So he didn't want to mess around with that. So he fought really hard, and in the last match, he tore a muscle in his arm. Mm-hmm. Oh. Tore a muscle in his arm. Had to skip out this last May Baciocco because he was suffering, and we didn't know how much he was suffering. Usually, because there's guys that are in the interviews, they're very quiet. You go, hey, and all they say is things, very generic things. Their code is very quiet and not boastful. So they talk about. When they talk about how did you beat this other opponent? He said, I just did my best. Did my best. Yeah. Thank you very much. And that's like the interviews are not very exciting. But at the end of the Baciocco, he hurt a muscle, and he knew that it was so bad that he couldn't be in the May Baciocco, and so but he got very depressed because at the last Baciocco tournament was with Japan's emperor. Now that emperor just abdicated his throne to his child. Right. Child just took over, and this in the May Baciocco was going to be the new era, because that's what the Japanese people they go by eras, and they also go by years and months and stuff, but they also go by eras and officially. So he felt so bad that he couldn't do it. He stopped eating. Anything.
Oh,
So he started losing a lot of weight.
Oh, and that's probably not good for a sumo wrestler.
So, the Emperor's son, he contacted Mrs. Claus because he knows what a fan, huge super fan she is. And we flew down there straight away. And for the next 3 weeks to 4 weeks, she was right by his side feeding him.
Wow. I wish I'd known. I would have sent some scotcheroos.
Yeah.
Oh, well, I had a bucket full of them that I had saved.
Oh.
Some had a little mold on them, but in Japan, they don't mind that. You should see some of the things that get eaten over there. Live octopus.
Yeah, I've seen videos of that. That does not appeal to me.
Right. So she was feeding him. So she got him back. He's still compete in the last May event, but yeah, he's going to be back in July because of Mrs. Claus, and that's why we have. So, and it's the reason it was secretive, was because that would have been special treatment, and that's looked down on, and she's not Japanese, so and it's very close knit as far as. Hakuho is not Japanese either; he's Mongolian. But he's amazing.
Wow.
But you're not going to get... Sorry, I interrupted you.
Well, I was just going to say, when Gavin and I were speculating as to where you could possibly be, we did say, well, there's probably some, high-level Mrs. Claus business, you being her personal assistant. But
Hi.
I would never have guessed that you were in Japan tending to the needs of a famous sumo wrestler. That is... you've done some pretty wackadoo things, my friend, but that is not something I would have thought of.
Yeah.
Yeah, it was pretty incredible. Then and I got to bring a couple of the penguins, and
You brought some penguins with you?
I did Larry Ford and Genevieve and Termite. They all came.
Wow, did they like it?
Oh, they loved it.
Oh, a lot
Nothing
of fish.
but raw fish. Man, they put any kind of extra money I had went to the sushi.
Wow.
The sashimi.
Amazing.
Now, you mentioned that this was all top secret.
Mm-hmm.
I'm just nervous because this show is going out to the public. There's not going to be an issue with that, is it? Or because it's over, you can talk about it?
No, it's fine now because, for one, they don't. The Japanese people that would be would take this seriously. They don't speak English. Luckily,
So
they speak German, French, Italian, and some other language, sign language, Japanese sign language, not American. Luckily, because I was making some gestures at sometimes that I thought would get me in trouble, but they don't speak English.
So they're not listening to this podcast.
They might be listening, but they can't discern.
Okay, well, let's hope that you and Mrs. Claus are safe.
Oh, I'm sure. Plus, she's Mrs. Claus, and over in Japan, it's not for children as much as for it's a holiday for lovers. So if you didn't know this, there's a lot of imagery and artwork, and it goes back centuries. But there's a lot of interesting images of Mr. and Mrs. Claus. I'll just leave it like that as a representation of Christmas time.
Got it. Interesting. Now, I have two questions. One, while you're over there, because your nickname, is that just what they called you? Or did you, because I know that there's different weight classes, did you try your hand at donning the old sumo underwear and getting in the circle?
Well, I didn't go to the tournament dojo, but I did go, and when we were at Hakuho's house, he has his own dojo, and so I was practicing with his young child. So his child is like a toddler, and so it was perfect size for me.
Right.
And so I tried all kinds of moves. They're sort of technical. It's not a lot of people, especially in America, and some European countries. They just think there's a couple of fat guys that are thrown against each other, but these guys are so flexible and strong, and yes, they're fat, but they're also hugely strong and flexible. And they, if you watch it a couple of days, oh, this is not just
A lot of skill.
Oh, a lot of skill.
Yeah.
A lot of specific throws they use. And so I was trying these throws on the Hakuho's toddler, and I must have done something right because the toddler's diaper was filled.
Oh,
So I must have scared him of something.
I don't know if I
Or
want to...
maybe it was just the time of the day.
Yeah, I don't know if I'd want to wrestle a toddler with a full diaper.
Yeah, I got messy.
Oh, boy.
Well, the second part of my question is, do you think... I didn't know that Mrs. Claus was such a fan.
Huge fan.
And we don't have anything like that. Do you think we could get some sumo wrestling up here at the North Pole?
Well, I know there's all kinds of leagues across the world, and it would be like less than official, but I think we could have some kind of, with some of the, and you don't have to, here's the other thing, you don't have to be a big, huge weight guy. There's this one new guy, and he's catching fire over in Japan because he's only 98 kgs, which is light.
Yeah.
And he's not super tall either, but he's short, and so he gets underneath and the big guys and quickly yanks on their legs and pulls them over.
Wow.
There's so much more to this than
there's a lot of certainly we could do a sumo, but if there's interest here, that's the only thing. But you'd think there would be interest.
Maybe we could do a survey. We could do a little survey and at one of the next entertainment events.
Wouldn't it be amazing to have Claus, Santa, bring out his old rope that goes around his belly and between his cheeks.
Yeah, his sumo gear.
Yep, and me being there for 3-4 weeks, you'd think I would have known what the term for that is, but it always escapes me.
Yeah. Well, this is fascinating and completely not one of the scenarios I thought.
No.
You thought I would be a super spy?
Well, I didn't know what I thought. Mrs. Claus has a lot of animal causes that she's behind and things like that. And she does a lot of kind of speaking engagements around the world, know. So I thought it was something in that nature, but never would have thought sumo.
No. We also speculated about that incident you had where the black SUV took you, and when you returned, you were missing a toe. So we thought maybe there was some strange resurgence of that. I'm glad to know there wasn't.
Yeah, well, no, that happened, but that was right at the beginning. And they were chasing us to the airport, and Mrs. Claus she has special features on her sleigh, and it dropped some syrup when they were behind them in the SUV sleigh, it spun out and crashed into a snowbank. And I heard that they went into the same ice cave that Crispin did.
Oh boy!
Well,
so I don't know.
That's
we
a
might
whole
find
other
them.
mystery.
We might find them in a year.
Yeah, maybe they'll win Elf of the Year. Are they elves?
Maybe.
All right. Well, before as we come to the end here, and before we wrap up, Beatrice, I wanted to say that everybody is super excited. June 16th, the Carnival that you are bringing here to the North Pole, and I think it's the first time of the Carnival. And did I read this right? The Carnival is going to be bringing a Ferris wheel.
Yes.
After the last Ferris wheel incident up here, I never thought I would see the day that another Ferris wheel would be.
So a few things that I have implemented. One is I worked with the geology team and the safety team to make sure that the Ferris wheel is set up nowhere near any structures. Mm-hmm. So if, God forbid, something happened and it fell over, it would just fall into snow. But we've also implemented a hardcore 3-point safety drill for putting up the Ferris wheel and the checks and balances that are going on to make sure that it is as sound as it could possibly be. And yeah, I think we're going to be great. I'm very excited. Oh,
me too. I haven't been to a fair in a long time.
Oh, I'm so excited. And there's going to be opportunities for for some of the local people who do crafts and make food to have little booths.
Wow.
There's going to be games. There's going to be animals.
Wow.
I'm very
Man, I
excited
heard
about
about-
the animals.
Man, I heard about the reindeer situation. I'm sorry I missed it.
Oh yeah, that was great.
Right when did everybody get a good ride? Did you go on it? I know you.
No,
were-
I'm allergic.
I went on. It was great.
Oh, no, I'm not allergic to reindeer. I'm allergic to penguins.
Yeah, but you were just nervous.
I'm afraid of reindeer.
Well, they're tall. Yeah.
Yeah.
My favorite thing was like seeing all the mushroom huts from the sky.
Yeah.
Like that was.
That height.
Yeah.
Yeah. Oh no, because they flew. That's right.
Yeah, 'cause they
It wasn't
flew,
just
yeah.
them walking.
We
around.
had a drone go up.
I saw that in Elf Tube.
Yeah.
It's fantastic.
Billy Haskins, the drone operator, he went up on one of the reindeer and operated the drone as he was up there so he could see what he wanted to get.
It was amazing.
And the footage is fantastic.
Folks at home, if you haven't seen the footage, it's amazing. It's like watching an F1 like a close quarter and like the Blue Angels from America. And watching those reindeers fly, and then you get the bird's eye view from the drone. It's
Yeah.
like quite amazing.
Yeah.
Yeah, the only thing that kind of just threw me for a bit was there was that, like, I'm hanging on for dear life,
Sure.
right? But I'm having fun. But then the reindeer, I think I was on Donner. The reindeer, he gave like a little like a little noise, and all of a sudden I was upside down. I'm like, wow!
Oh, they love to do
barrel
that.
roll spin.
Yeah,
it was
they
crazy.
love to do that.
So, but that was the reindeer thing. Another lovely event. So far, Beatrice, all your events are hitting them out of the park. So congratulations.
And I'm excited for the Ferris wheel. As there's
Thank
going to
you.
be dancing girls like the Mayor Thompson had lined up, and they're going to be free cigarettes and booze.
No.
Okay.
Good.
There will be no free cigarettes and booze. There will be dancing, but it won't be dancing girls.
Okay, good.
Right. Okay. Well, we are all looking forward to that. That is June 16th. We want to get the forecast in before we leave here. Tonight, you can expect some snow, with some snow tomorrow, continuing on through the rest of the week. Thank you so much for tuning in, Gary. It's great to have you back.
Yes.
We're happy to have you back. I was trying to think of a Japanese sayonara. I don't know very much.
Hey.
But thank you for tuning in to Elf Centered. My name is Gavin.
I am Beatrice.
I'm Gary.
Gary's son. Oh, did you get to go to Tokyo Disneyland while you were there?
Oh yeah. We did go there, and then we went to also. There's a Tokyo Knott's Berry Farm. A surprise.
I didn't know that.
It's a couple miles down the road.
Wow.
They sell boysenberry and they make fried chicken.
Did you bring me a
Unbelievable.
present?
Oh, I did. Hold on a second. It's in this water tank.
Oh, it's alive.
It's a koi fish.
Oh, it's beautiful.
Yeah, I knew that you're not allergic to fish, so that's right. His name is.
This episode of Elf Centered was completely improvised by Jayne Entwistle, Chris Sheets, and Grant Baciocco. Music for this episode by Kevin MacLeod. This episode was edited by Steven Staver. Elf Centered is a production of Saturday Morning Media and made possible by the Saturday Morning Media Patreon patrons who've gone to patreon.com/Saturday Morning Media and set up a monthly pledge for as little as $1 a month. Patrons get new episodes before they are released, behind-the-scenes information, and exclusive bonus content. If you'd like to support this show and the other fun content from Saturday Morning Media, become a patron. Head on over to patreon.com/Saturday Morning Media and set up your monthly pledge today. You can also tell a friend about the show or leave the show a review on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, Google Play, or wherever you listen to your podcasts. Thank you so much for listening. Elf Centered is copyright 2019 Saturday Morning Media, Grant Baciocco executive producer, all rights reserved. www.saturdaymorningmedia.com. You've been listening to Saturday Morning Media. Stay tuned. We'll be right back.